With the industry now grappling with the fact that real climate action is needed, the tides are definitely changing. And while government policies are clearly necessary, the market is also responding to the reality of the climate crisis. Even before the coronavirus caused a total collapse in oil prices, fossil fuel companies represented a mere 4% of the S&P 500's value, a 4-decade low. Last year, ExxonMobil fell out of the S&P's top 10 largest stocks, meaning that for the first time ever, there's no oil companies in the index's top 10. Then this year, Exxon was dropped from the Dow Jones Industrial Average, replaced by Salesforce. Renewables, on the other hand, had a much more resilient 2020, representing nearly 90% of new global electricity generation. And BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, announced that it will divest from companies deriving over 25% of their revenue from thermal coal and create new funds focused on sustainable investing.
CEOs know that lots of people won't buy their stocks unless they take sustainability seriously. Many investors, especially the younger ones, need to hear a company's stance on these issues. And if they don't like it, they'll dump the stock or they'll never touch it.
With major companies pledging to curb their emissions, investors increasingly see oil and gas companies as a bad long-term bet.
I'm about trying to make you money. And the honest truth is, I don't think I can help you make money in the oil and gas stocks anymore.
Outside of the markets, the current wave of litigation against oil and gas companies could also hasten a shift in both public perception and policy.
There are currently 24 active suits against the oil companies in different counties, cities, and states in the U.S. Any one of them could be a couple $1 billion.
The premise of many of the suits filed by cities and counties is that oil and gas companies knowingly sold a harmful product to the public and should be financially responsible for the damages caused. So far, none have been successful. Many are tied up in jurisdictional battles as judges differ on whether they belong in state or federal court. Others have been dismissed on the grounds that the issue should be resolved by Congress, not the courts. But just one win could be huge.
If even one of those lawsuits wins, regardless of what happens in American politics, that's a game changer. Because if the oil sector really had to compensate people for the damages that they're incurring because of climate change, that would transform things dramatically.
Alternatively, Taylor thinks Washington may offer the industry liability protection on the grounds that oil and gas companies agree to a deal on climate action. Either way, he believes there is bipartisan interest in climate legislation, but worries that right now, Republicans still see it as too politically risky to support.
You know, you'd be surprised at how many people in the GOP, actually elected members of Congress and the Senate, who either dismiss or act as if they're not particularly interested in climate change, but who privately quite are. But they're not sure where the political window of opportunity is for them to act and what sort of policy vehicle they should be driving.
For his part, Taylor hopes that conservatives and liberals alike will embrace market-oriented approaches like a carbon tax. President-elect Joe Biden has previously expressed support for this, but has since released a $2 trillion clean energy and infrastructure plan that's more focused on a green and equitable economic recovery, without explicitly mentioning putting a price on carbon. Either way, though, Biden's plan is the boldest yet.
The Biden administration climate platform is the strongest ever by a U.S. president, by far. We are in a very different place than we were 4 or 8 or 12 years ago.
Today, 60% of Americans view climate change as a major threat to the country, and about 2/3 say the government should be doing more to address it. The main question now is how and if the industry will respond.
Will the CEOs of major oil and gas companies continue to deny not only scientific reality, but market reality and ride their companies right into bankruptcy and into the grave, which is what happened in the coal sector? Or will they decide that if they want to survive, they're going to have to compete with new energy technologies and new energy services?